All right, we move this pawn forward, and now we quickly place the knight here to see if they take it. There it is. We've won the game. We just give this check, and now we win the queen for free. How's it going, friends? Today I'm going to show you several opening traps, not just one, but a few for when they play the queen's pawn. Probably many of you are used to knowing how to play against the king's pawn since it's the most popular opening. However, you get a bit lost with the black pieces when they play d4. So let's start with this trap that's going to fascinate you. These traps work especially well in fast games, as you saw at the beginning, where we give away a pawn right on the first move. This trap works great for all those who are greedy and like to take everything we give away. Here, for example, we give away a pawn and they take it. And then all we have to do is push this pawn to e6. Why? Because this way, we directly attack white's pawn with the bishop, meaning we open up the diagonal to attack their pawn. Obviously, they won't want to lose it, so they'll try to defend it no matter what. However, here we already have a move available that can practically win the game, and that move is a5, a brutal move that threatens to first take this pawn in the back, and once we capture it, to also capture the pawn in front and start winning a lot of material. That's why they're going to try to defend it. However, they don't realize that whether they defend it with this pawn or with this one, they've already lost the game. If they defend it with the a pawn, all we have to do is exchange pawns and then we'll win the rook. Do you see it? Because it's completely undefended. However, a lot of people will notice this and won't push this pawn here, but instead will try to advance the c pawn to avoid these kinds of exchanges. Still, we're going to exchange anyway. As you can see, this trap is really simple. And now, all we have to do is develop our queen to the f6 square. It looks like a harmless move, but it's already winning the rook right away, since there's no piece that can get in the way. Whether they try to block with the queen, the bishop, or the knight, we're going to capture it and then take the rook, check, and then I take the rook. This trap really is truly dangerous and very powerful. And the best part is that people don't know about it. We'll simply play the double queen's pawn. It looks like we're avoiding them, right? Oh, by the way, before I continue, otherwise I'll forget and leave it for the end of the video, you should know that right now, if you really want to improve, not just learn traps like in this video, you should join the Chess Teacher Academy because we have an amazing offer. You can join for the whole week, 7 days, all inclusive, for just €1 or $1, depending on where you're watching me from. So it's a golden opportunity to really improve your chess skills. You already know everything that's included, right? Video lessons from FIDE Masters, my own video lessons, everything on ChessMind, included with its more than 60 courses on openings, middle game, end games, tactics. You know it, all included. 7 days for €1. So I recommend you check it out down below in the description, and I'll remind you again at the end of the video. Let's get into this trap, which is really interesting. When they play the queen's gambit against us, which is actually the most common thing, when they play the queen's pawn, all we have to do is use the Baltic variation. If you don't know it, no worries. I'll explain it to you. Develop the bishop to f5. That's all there is to it. Why? Because now we're going to stick to our setup. The most common move here is knight to c3, and our setup is to play e6, all right? You need to memorize this setup. It's that simple. However, here a lot of people are going to think, especially those playing white, right? Here I have a golden opportunity to win material. And what is this opportunity? We're going to see it now. If here they don't fall for this trap and just keep playing normally, right? For example, e3, knight to f3. The good thing about these openings is that all we have to do is keep playing normally, develop our pieces, c6, whatever we want, and we won't end up worse off. That's why I really like these traps. If they fall for it, great, and if not, well, we just keep playing the game. But the idea white has here is to capture this pawn. Why? Because taking advantage of the fact that we've developed this bishop, and this bishop is already defending this very important square here, now they can play queen to b3. Look at how strong this move is. Apparently, they're attacking the d5 pawn with 2 pieces, with the knight and with the queen. But not only that, they're also attacking the b7 pawn. It's a double attack. Is there any way, chess teacher, to defend both points at the same time? Well, now there isn't a way. So then what? Wow, chess teacher, the trap you're showing me is pretty bad. Actually, no. They're the ones falling into our trap. What we need to do is just keep playing as if nothing's wrong. developing our knight so that now we force our opponent to stick to their plan. Because if they decide, for example, to just keep playing normally, our threat is very serious. We continue with this knight jump, and the move knight to c2, check, is unstoppable. And I'm going to take the rook, protected by the bishop. This move is completely unstoppable. The bishop can't come over either because we've got everything well defended. That's why here, after this knight to c6, playing passively doesn't work for them. They have to stick to their plan and come capture this pawn here. Not only do they capture a pawn, but they also attack our knight. Do you see it? They'd give us check, and if we blocked with the queen, they'd take our rook. It seems dangerous, but we've got everything under control. We'll continue with knight takes pawn. At this point, the pressure is back at its peak. Once again, we attack with knight to c2, check, and then we take the rook. So once again, they have to react. And how do they have to do it? Well, by putting pressure on us before we get there. If they don't do anything, we're going to win the rook. So they can keep up the pressure with knight takes pawn. And now, it's true that we're threatening this check, but they're also threatening us with it. Knight takes on c7, check, and they take our rook. As you can see, this is turning into a race to see who gets there first. However, the good thing for us, and the bad thing for them, is that we've got it under control. We've studied this, and all we have to do is play rook to b8, attacking the queen. It's a move that seems very calm, but it's actually incredibly powerful, because it leaves white with no way to continue. If they move the queen away, we simply give a check and win the rook, so they have to be super active. They still have one resource left. Careful, we're attacking the queen, we're attacking the knight with our queen if it moves away, and we're threatening this double attack. However, they have the only move that seems to save them, which is to counterattack by checking us with the knight, right? Now, we couldn't capture the knight because we'd lose the queen, but all we have to do is move the king away. Yeah, it seems strange, right? It seems really off. We've got it under control. Double attack on the knight, king, and queen. The good thing about these traps is that, yes, it does seem a bit complicated, but since we've studied it, we can make the moves quickly without wasting time. It's going to be our opponent who has to stop and think about what to do. Since we're threatening the knight with two pieces, what they have to do is act right away here. For example, they can't make a discovered attack on us because they'd lose the queen. I've run into that, you know? For example, they try to give me a discovered check, but I just take the queen. So what they have to do is try to move the queen to give us check. The good thing is that I'm showing you what to do if your opponent tries to get away with the only chance they've got, right? Either way, we'll know how to respond. After this check, what we're going to do is capture the knight. Absolutely nothing happens. We're attacking the queen. Exchanging queens probably isn't going to be good for them, because after the capture, we'll not only be up a piece, but we'll also give this check and take the rook. That's why they have to try to do something else. For example, bringing in the bishop to give check. Does this worry us? Not at all. We're just going to move the king. Seems strange, right? Yeah, but we've got everything under control. Can they do anything? Not much, right? Because we're threatening the queen. If they take our rook, we take their queen. If they go for the queen exchange, we threaten this jump here again, and we're up a piece. So here, white has only one option, which is, for example, to try to escape with the queen so they don't lose it. However, all we have to do is give this check, and as you can see, the king can't move because our queen is covering the file. So they're forced to give up their queen, and in this position, no matter if they capture the rook, right? I'm showing you this so you can see how easy it is to win this game. We would simply end up with a queen advantage. So here, no matter what, you should definitely be able to win. This is the trap that has given me the most wins in online games, so pay close attention because it's extremely easy. We'll start with the pawn to e5. You've seen this several times on the channel, right? It's a pretty unknown trap, but for followers of the channel, it won't be so unknown anymore. The idea is that we're giving away the most important pawn in the position because we have a plan. We won't continue with the typical knight to c6 or queen d7. I'm sure we've seen this several times on the channel, haven't we? We're going to continue with this bishop to c5. I'm telling you, this trap is spectacular. Make sure you remember these moves well. First, we give up the pawn, and now we develop the bishop to c5. Important. All right, so now what? Well, they can do a lot of things. Honestly, we don't care. You'll see why. The most common move is for them to develop the knight to f3. But like I said, it doesn't matter if they play something else, because what we want to do is this little move here, d6, advancing the queen's pawn, offering white the following, hey, you have an extra pawn, right? Well, if you want, you can go ahead and take it back here. Or rather, you can have it back in your hands now, because after the exchange, you'll have captured 2 pawns and I'll have captured 1. And you won't have to worry about defending it anymore, right? So here's a little tip for you. If you've already seen a video about this trap, I've mentioned this before, it's about making it look like, especially if you're playing online, that you've just left your knight hang. And how do you do that? Well, as soon as you see them capture this pawn, you're going to grab your knight and place it in front of the king. In online games, you can already have your knight ready so that when they capture, bam, put it right here in front. And it works really well because they think you've made a mistake. And if they take the knight, they're completely lost. How is that possible, chess teacher? How can that be? You just gave away a knight and nothing's happening here and they're threatening our queen? Well, no, because we're going to win that queen completely for free. All we have to do is capture this pawn on f2 with check. As you can see, the king can't escape or keep defending the queen. The only legal move they have is to capture the bishop. And once it's captured, all we have to do is tick, 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 and take the queen. And it was completely free. Don't you have a friend who always plays the London system? Well, and if not, that's okay, because since it's one of the most played openings in history, a lot of people play it now because it's trendy too. So pay attention, because I'm going to show you a super simple trap to win in 4 or 5 moves when someone plays the London system against you. It's that easy. The good thing about London system players is that they always play the same thing, right? So we already know they're going to put the bishop here first. They're going to try to set up this structure, right? You already know which setup I'm talking about, right? The London system setup, it's always the same thing. So we should take advantage of this information to set a trap for them. Let's pretend we have no idea what they're doing and just push this pawn here. And if they keep going with their system, they've already lost the game. Or rather, they've already lost this bishop. They're going to end up down a piece, and here's the move you need to play. Pay attention, this is amazing, right? e5. What do you think? Looks like we're not winning anything, right? Well, actually, this move already wins the bishop. I'll show you, because it's extremely simple. They have several options at first glance, right? For example, the one we're going to cover first, because it's very straightforward. If they try to escape with the bishop, you can see we're going to capture it. For example, here we capture it with the queen, and if they go back, we'll play this advance and force them to capture. You see it? So it comes down to just 2 options. They capture with a pawn or they capture with the bishop. You see it? There's no other way, because if they leave, we'll advance and force them to capture. If they capture with the pawn, it's as simple as first advancing the knight's pawn and now advancing the rook's pawn. Where's that bishop going to go? That's it, totally lost. See how easy? And if they decide here, remember, after this e5, to capture with the bishop, well, don't worry, it's just as simple. What we're going to do is first press with the bishop's pawn. That's all there is to it. As you can see, this bishop can't go anywhere except backwards. If it comes here first, boom, bam, and we've got it trapped again. If it goes all the way to the end first, we just switch the order. It's really that simple. First, we move this pawn forward, and then we move the other one. And now the bishop has no way out. As you can see, we've gone over a collection of super effective traps against the queen's pawn that I recommend you watch more than once because they're incredibly effective. By the way, please take a look at the channel's official academy, where right now you can get 7 days for just €1. The value is priceless, absolutely priceless. You already know we have classes from a FI master, and it's developed by grandmasters. You get my classes, you get a full paid app included, everything included, with more than 60 opening courses, plus more middle game courses. Well, I guess by now everyone knows about the Academy, right? Well, this is a golden opportunity to get in for those 7 days for just €1. Hey, chess teacher, I tried those 7 days. I really didn't like the Academy. I want to leave. No problem, you can just leave. That's it. And if you want, I'll even give you your euro back. My goal isn't to force you to join, quite the opposite. We're running this promotion so you can join the Academy, see how amazing it is, and then decide for yourself if you want to stay. Of course! Hey, let me tell you something else. Out of everyone who's joined, I actually checked the stats today, and only 0.2%. That's true, okay? 0.2% of the people who join have canceled their membership. What do you think about that? 0.2. How's that even possible? It's unbelievable. That just means the Academy's fantastic, and it's really helping you win more games and, of course, become a better player. You already know. You can find it right below in the description or by going to chessteacher.chessmind.ai. Alright? It's that simple. I recommend you give it a try. I hope you loved this video, and as always, I'll see you tomorrow in the next one, friends. Goodbye!